Now we're watching a Caddy video. Okay, I was told this is technically the last one I haven't watched yet of the new Caddy videos. I don't know what this is supposed to be about. Like, I have no idea what any of this is supposed to mean. But all it just says is I'm sorry. Like, there's no hint. But is this like I don't know. This just looks like the general average YouTube apology video. Like, is there going to be crying? Is there going to be hysterics? Is there going to be a ukulele, you know? Probably not a ukulele, because this is like before then. Before that fucking drama. This is the video that went viral? Okay. I don't know what to expect, but it's Caddy, so.
Hello. If you don't know me,
Oh,
I'm
hi.
Caddy. Nice to meet you. And if you do know me,
What's up?
I'm
Caddy-licious.
sorry. You see, back in December 2020, I uploaded my final video of the year and then decided to take off some time in January to hang out with my girlfriend and her kids, help them out with online virtual schoolwork, start construction on an outdoor studio and green screen room, and do some streaming to tide everybody over until my next video was ready to release in February. But there was just one thing stopping me from doing this. My gaming laptop was starting to struggle a little bit with streaming and recording gameplay footage for the next video, which meant I needed to do something about it. What I didn't realize, though, was that this single decision would start the biggest domino chain of pain I've ever seen in my entire video making career, where every single piece that fell sent a shockwave of bad luck across my life that was so huge I was left a quivering old man begging my grandchildren to come and see me, completely unaware that they were all dead because I killed them and I just forgot.
Okay, alright. Caddy. This is why you shouldn't go out in public, because you be confessing to this shit, and then you post it online and everything, and it's just a whole mess. It's just a whole mess.
About it because I'm old. Yes, ladies and gents, I needed to. And it was horrible. I hated it. It sucked. I don't understand the appeal. I never want to do it again in my life, and this is now how I feel about PC gaming. What?
Oh my god.
Caddy, what? How could you even say that?
In this economy, Caddy, no. The disrespect. No. Absolutely not. And not in this academy. Not academy. This economy. Absolutely the fuck not. I don't care how far back this was. I don't care. No. In this day and age, that probably what he just like smashed down with his footsies was like, I don't know, $1 bajillion, because they'd be raising these prices. And for what? Because Yomi just told me like earlier today, the NVIDIA fucking graphics cards, the 50 series, are apparently just exploding. Like, they're catching on fire. So, no thank you. Be spending thousands of dollars and you just goes up into flames as soon as you try to use any of it. Listen. In this academy, we have an economy, and it's shit.
PC gaming is bliss. PC gaming is the way. PC gaming is pretty cool. And you know what? That may be true. I love PC gaming. In fact, I do it more than consoles, and I do them on the regular. But as you will soon come to see in this video, the process of me getting to that nirvana was not without a few cuts, bruises, tears, blood, lost fingers, and broken dreams. This video's title is not clickbait, and everything you're about to see and hear is 100% true. You want to know the reason there hasn't been a video from me in months? It is all because of this confounded infernal thing, and it has caused me so much grief and so so much stress on top of everything else that's happened to me over the last few weeks, I just had to turn lemons into lemonade and make a video talking about all of it together
What
for my
in
own
the-
sanity, if nothing else. Yes, this lolloping great dishwasher has given me enough content for a goddamn storytime video. PC building sucks, I'll say it, and I don't care if I'm in the minority on this. None of this
PC building is just like adult Lego.
yeah, right.
No, like one day I do want to like build my own PC, but like I have to buy pre-built, especially these days, because usually building your own PC, like not that long ago honestly, was cheaper to do than to buy a pre-built, because when you buy a pre-built, you're not only buying like the PC itself, you're buying like the labor into like putting all the shit together and then shipping it off. So it's like you literally got what you paid for. You just paid a little extra for a pre-built one. But these days, building your own PC is about the same price or actually more. That's how bad it's gotten. So, yeah. I'm going to wait until building a PC yourself is a hell of a lot cheaper again. Because I just want to try it out. I just want to try building a PC because I'm just interested in how it all works. But if you're not interested in that kind of thing, yeah, it's going to like, it's not going to be your thing. It's just going to be frustrating. You're going to be like, nope, tosses it out a window. Yeah, Leah, you would just destroy the entire UK power grid. Just
last time you
Just
spent £2,000
shutting the whole place
on one leg
down.
of a Bionicle, and if you didn't put it on properly, the leg caught fire and melted the Bionicle's £900 face. Building a PC was one of the most stressful, time-consuming, and expensive things I've ever done. And this isn't even including the issues I've had with time and finances with trying to get the studio set up, and the other PC problems I've had unrelated to this build that have left me totally unable to create anything. All I wanted was to make nicer videos for all of you. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Here's why. I
The
don't recommend
drama.
building PCs because they're pieces of shit, actually. And let's start at the very beginning. So it's around the 13th of January.
again, like
I'm
I said,
having a
these
sit
days
alone in
it's-
my house.
it's mostly
Well,
just
actually, I
too
wasn't
expensive.
alone, but I live with children, so I wish I was. And I realized I had no idea what I was doing when it came to building a new PC. So I called up my very good friend, Low Spec Gamer, who's from Spain, which means he likes paella. This dude, by the way, is a master when it comes to
Oh my
PCs and
God.
PC building. His whole YouTube channel is about running the latest games at the lowest specs possible. So everything that happens in this story is not his fault. Anyway, we started talking and I
Wow.
described exactly what kind of PC I needed to build and at what budget, so that he could tell me which parts would be best, what is compatible with what, and then point me in the right direction on where to buy it all.
Issue 1.
In this current climate, finding any PC parts at all is harder than pissing into your own mouth. Our initial idea was to build a PC with an NVIDIA RTX 3080 graphics card, Ryzen 9 5950X processor, Asus Prime X570p motherboard, Corsair Obsidian 750D case, 850-watt power supply, 2TB solid-state drive, Blu-ray drive, Noctua NHD15 cooling fan, and 32GB of Corsair.
Dedicated wham.
All of these parts weren't too difficult to obtain, but the 3080 and Ryzen 9, woof. I spent around 3 to 4 days of checking every reputable website I could every single hour to see.
It's I know this is like an older video, but it was like, it's weird now that I have with my new like shiny new PC that I'm still so happy about, that I have a better, like, more than a few better things, including the graphics. Like I think I have, I'd have to check again, but I think I have the 4070. I think, like the best 4070 one. Or I would have to check
what the
again.
stock situation was like, because
It's
don't
so
forget,
weird
boys
for
and
my
girls,
shit
don't
to be
trust
better
stock
than
alerts. Use
other
your clock
people's
alert, or else
shit.
you'll regret it to let
It's so
it. I managed
weird.
to grab myself the processor, but the graphics card was just not available anywhere I looked. The only places stocking them being scalpers on eBay, who were selling a £650 graphics card for around £1,700.
Oh, I hate that. I
And
hate that.
bollocks if I was giving that to any old Johnny. It was coming up to the 19th of January, and there was still no sign of any 3080s after a week of searching. So with time running out for me to start start streaming again and start recording the console footage in time for my February video, I made the decision to start looking for the next graphics card up, the 3090. Not only way more powerful, but more importantly, it retailed for basically the same price brand new as the resellers' prices of the 3080 were. Plus, since it's more expensive by default, it was a little bit easier to find, and so within a day, I had all the parts I needed on the way.
Issue 2.
All of this is bloody expensive. Before doing anything, I had already spent £1,700 on the 3090, £800 on the Ryzen 9, £160 on the motherboard, £140 on
Yeah,
the case,
it's too fucking
£150 on the
expensive
power
these days.
supply, £320 on the 2TB SSD, £100 on the Blu-ray drive, £80 on the fan, £170 on the 32GB,
Detonated wham.
£150 on the monitor, and £10 on additional cables and anti-static bands for my hands. Otherwise, if I touched any of these parts during the creation of the PC, I would have turned into a hot air balloon. This already totaled to £3,780. For all of you Americans out there, you can convert it yourself. So there we go. I found all the pieces, they were all shipping as fast as they could, and the PC would be up and running in a few days' time. What could possibly go wrong? Immediately the next day, I got sent the wrong disk drive. Instead of a loose writable Blu-ray drive, I was given a portable DVD player.
What?
I'm not kidding. I quickly got all of that
What?
squared up and sorted with Amazon,
Wait,
after which I got what I
no.
actually ordered 2 days later.
How do you get those two things mixed up? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There'd be a little bit of shenanigans happen. Cause what the fuck? No. You can't mistake one for the other. No.
But then there was something else. The cooling fan I ordered on the 15th was supposed to get to me on the 20th, but it never arrived. And after tracking it to see what happened, I discovered that not only was the parcel never even sent out, but it actually was sent out and was sent immediately back to the sender because I refused to accept the delivery. None of this added up, so I called the company and basically asked, so where's my fan? And I was told on the other end that because of the European company I ordered from were physically unable to get it past customs. The fan never even left the continent it was coming from and got sent back to their warehouses straight away.
I'm so glad we voted for a better Britain.
No big deal. I ordered the fan from another site, and a few days later, it arrived, along
they
with the
still be
graphics
selling
card,
them
and
portable
slowly
DVD
but surely,
players.
everything else.
I think they actually got, like,
around,
popular
and it was time
again.
to jump on a webcam with Low Spec Gamer and build the thing. Considering this was the first time I'd ever built a PC entirely on my own, it did take a few hours, but the first day went surprisingly well, with me pointing the camera at different places of the motherboard and Low Spec Gamer talking about how much he loves eating tortilla de papas. I managed to plug everything into the right slot, screw everything into the right place, glue the cooling system to the processor with thermal paste, while making sure I was wearing anti-static bands, otherwise all of these immensely expensive components can break immediately if you so much as touch it. Isn't that a kettle of fish? And we managed to get to a point where everything was installed and plugged into a monitor,
So
but it was all
expensive,
sitting on
so
top
breakable.
of the box the motherboard came in outside of the PC case, just in case something was wrong with any of the parts before we committed to putting it inside the case. I turned the power on by short-circuiting the motherboard with the end of a screwdriver, which was horrifying.
The whole
Lots of pretty
digital
glowing
controversy
fans started
thing
glowing
is also
and
another reason
fanning.
for
We
them to
managed
come
get a
back.
signal up on the monitor, the BIOS menu popped up, and none of my USB keyboards or mice were working. For all of those unaware, the BIOS is basically the central nervous system of the PC and
See,
dictates
this
how
is-
it turns on, off, and what
Just make
settings
sure
the
they have
entire
that
PC
thermal
uses
paste.
at its absolute.
Just smother it. Don't do that, by the way. Don't. You need like the tiniest drop. Don't smother the thermal paste. Even I know that, and I haven't even built one yet. But no, this is like one of my main nightmares. I think about, like, when I finally get a chance to build my own PC. Like, I get it all installed correctly, I get it all built, it's all ready to go, and it's just immediately like blue screening or something is not working right, and I can't figure out why. It's just a nightmare. A nightmare.
Base level. So yeah, a pretty important shit that I couldn't access. We spend the rest of the day troubleshooting with multiple forums online and figure
gotta
out
get
it's
that
probably because the motherboard
thick
itself, the
base.
skeleton of the PC connecting all the parts together, was unable to read the 32GB of
Detonated.
I had
Oh my
purchased,
God.
and that was conflicting with the USB device reading, meaning no keyboard and mouse, meaning we couldn't get any further. So we both come to the agreement that I should order a smaller single stick of 8GB RAM that was from the official motherboard compatibility list, even even though the other RAM should have been compatible with it anyway, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. That costed me an extra £35. It'll all be here tomorrow. We'll revisit it in the morning. Then I went to sleep, and I dreamed of being awake. Then I woke up. The RAM arrived later that afternoon, and me and Low Spec Gamer jumped on another call to test it all out. And nope, wasn't having any of it. So then we move on to the next theory. Could it be the SSD? Is that a little bit damaged? Is that bad? Shall we try unscrewing it? Yeah, Low Spec, that's a great idea. No. As it turned out, after another entire day of troubleshooting online, it turned out that the BIOS software itself was too
you still have
outdated for the
physical
ultra-powerful
shops that
processor
rent
I
and
was
sell
using to
DVDs?
run it. And the only way that I could update it was to unscrew the processor,
I don't
clean
think
all
we
of the
really
thermal
have any
paste
of
off
those
it and
anymore.
the cooler, boot it up with an older generation processor that was screwed and pasted in, get into the BIOS screen, update everything, turn it all off, unscrew the older gen processor, clean all the thermal paste off of it and the cooler, put the one I meant to use back in, making sure it was screwed and pasted in, and then we could continue on, set up the BIOS, and then stick it in the case and install Windows 10. By the way, in order to do any of this, I needed to wait another day because I needed to order an older gen processor, the only one available at the time being a Ryzen 5 2600 at £160. After my original processor was put back in, we tested everything, got into the BIOS, and voila, we were good to go. So it was now time to unplug most of it, stick everything into the case, and plug all the other necessary cables in, while Low Spec celebrated with some pantumaka. Again, it took me over an hour, seeing as it was my first time, and I was doing it over camera, and I was being careful, but I eventually made it. So I plugged in the power supply, hooked everything up to a monitor, pressed the power button, and nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. No glowing, no whirring, not even any fanning. The whole thing was dead, like the love from my father. I was destatic,
Damn.
everything was in the correct place and connected, no screws were too tight or too loose, there was no metal touching the underside of the motherboard that was causing a short circuit. It just wasn't having any of it. So what do you think I had to do? I uninstalled everything. We took it apart piece by piece from the case and set
This
it back
is
up
just
how it was when it was a
nightmarish.
naked lump of mechanical organs. And that's when we discovered something
Nightmarish.
terrifying. No matter what we did, no matter what switch we flicked or motherboard pin we shorted with the end of a screwdriver, including those pins that reset the motherboard and the BIOS, the motherboard itself was absolutely fried. No power was going to it at all. And it
Oh,
wasn't the power supply
damn.
either, because I did this trick where you put a bent over paperclip into different ends of a wire that's connected to it, and then you turn it on to trick it into working. It was really scary and my house nearly burned down. So at this point, there was nothing else I could do other than order another motherboard. This time going for an
God
MSI MEG X750 Unify at an extra £260. Buying an advanced model with actual power and reset buttons so I didn't need to short with a screwdriver just to be safe. Side note, at this moment in time,
God
my partner
damn,
Caddicarus' work
Caddy.
laptop for editing videos on Patreon and doing schoolwork with the kids also decided to break, as programs kept randomly opening and closing, seizure-inducing effects plagued the screen whenever opening a file, and eventually any mouse you plugged in refused to work, including the touchpad one.
Honestly, this would be my fucking luck as well. This would happen to me. Like, God, please. Oh, nightmarish. Nightmarish.
Meaning that we not only lost all of our work for a Patreon-only video that needed to be done by the end of January, but also meant that Caddicarus had to take my backup gaming laptop for all of her work, meaning that I had no choice but to get this problem fixed, or I had no way of recording or streaming anything at all. January 31st rolled around, and I was already fully accustomed to the inner workings of my PC. In fact, I knew it better, undressed than in clothes, and I was able to unplug everything from the old motherboard and install it into the new one with no help from Low Spec Gamer at all. Everything worked for me, so I thought, hey, I'm gonna give it a shot. I opened my case, put the PC inside, screwed, plugged, switched it on, and oh my god, it finally works! Hallelujah! We even managed to install Windows on it and everything when he joined in on a call later on that day. Sure, I needed to buy a single key for Windows 10 Pro for an extra £20, but who cares? It's all working now. Everything's installed. Time to get all of my programs I need and start setting up for streams and gameplay
Praise
recording.
Jeebus.
February the 3rd creeps up. I'm already days behind on this video, but I'm plowing through regardless. Until that happened. All of a sudden, I'm physically unable to do anything at all because the damn
What's
computer
up,
won't
Panda?
stop randomly cutting power entirely and then rebooting like nothing happened. And I don't mean like Windows was going into a shutdown or restart sequence. I mean the entire system just seemed to cut all power and boot right back up again. This happens so frequently that this was the crash log I sent to a few friends of mine after only the first 3 days of use. And the
Damn.
worst thing was that Windows wouldn't tell me anything about these crashes. There were no causes listed, no values or error numbers. It would just run along like stop. And not only
Okay,
were there
by
no
this point, I would be thinking, like, is the neighbors doing it? Because, like, did they just get tired of the caddy bullshit happening? And they said, we're going to sabotage. Because his shit is breaking down. We just got to keep it exploding and being broke. Make him spend all his money on this one goddamn PC, and he'd have to move out of the neighborhood. They sub-generator, turn the power on and off. They're just flicking a switch like
error codes, but there was also
gonna
no
get snack.
consistency or
go
pattern
get that
behind what
snack.
was happening. I could be playing Neo
Grab me
at
one too.
maximum 4K 60 FPS
I don't know what
settings
you're
for
getting,
over
but
an
grab me
hour
one too.
and be totally okay. But as soon as I opened up my emails, goodbye! It would crash when I was writing documents, crash
Is
when I
the
opened
video
Chrome,
before-
crash
oh,
when
the
a
Wamba
YouTube video loaded,
Yeah,
crash
we watched both of the spooky jump scare videos right before this one. Like, we watched both of them back to back.
I opened Windows settings, crash when I opened Steam, crash when I closed Steam, crash when I started recording gameplay footage, crash when I stopped recording gameplay footage, but it never happened reliably all the time. It was absolutely random when it decided to do this. I had every single graphics driver updated, Windows itself was fully updated, even the BIOS was fully updated, but no dice. I was at the whim of the black screen.
Which sounds like a pretty epic episode of Black Mirror.
And so, with no leads to go on, we now had to deal with the best bit of PC building diagnosis. Taking every single piece out again, testing them for damage, seeing if they work individually, and process of eliminating our way through each component until we had an assumption of what could be causing this mysterious cut, aside from the barber. First, we thought that the motherboard reset switch was being activated by accident, since the crash reboots behaved identically to if I would have pressed the reset switch. Turn it off, open the case, unplug the reset switch, everything works for 3 hours, crash. Next up, we thought that it could have been the graphics card and processor were just too powerful for the 850 watt power supply, and I was getting dangerous surges, meaning the computer turned itself off to stay safe. So in that scenario, I ordered myself an Asus 1000 watt power supply for £180 just to be safe. 2 days later, it arrives, so I dismantle the PC, rehook every power cable imaginable to the new power supply, and switch the cables
Please don't
over
manifest
just in
that,
case they
Panda.
were the problem, put it all back
Please
together.
don't manifest that, because I was thinking about that. Like, all this bullshittery, like, I wouldn't even be surprised if it had happened to me. I would just literally just collapse, take a nap, and never wake up again. Like, just no. I couldn't. I'd be just like, what even is the point?
Booted it up, and then, oh my god, we've now got nothing on the screen at all. And even better, a nice red light lit up on the motherboard. What on earth could this mean now? Actually, as it turns out, it's because one of the GPU plugs was a little bit loose. That was my fault. I'm really sorry. But hey, we're back. No problems here, so it was time for me to record more gameplay footage. I managed to get about 4 hours
We
done.
love a little
and
caddy
as soon as I clicked stop
self-sabotage.
recording after a 45-minute recording session, it crashed again, meaning I lost all of that footage entirely, and the problem still wasn't fixed. Next up, we thought it could possibly have been a bad batch of... Since all of these crashes seems to happen during certain programs loading that are heavy on RAM usage. So I ordered yet more 32GB of RAM from HyperX instead of Corsair, adding another £190 to my expenditure for the evening. Next day, I took the PC
Goddamn,
apart,
Caddy.
uninstalled the processor by unscrewing it and cleaning the paste again because the cooling system was too big and covered all the RAM slots, swapped the RAM out, repasted and screwed everything back in with the processor and the cooling, booted
my
up
God,
Windows,
that
go to open up my
thick
streaming
paste.
software, Streamlabs OBS, to see if I can set it up for a stream later, and Side note, it's also around this time that my office PC, where I create all of my videos, write them, edit them, and all of that jazz, started making this noise whenever I used it. For any non-PC experts out there, it shouldn't be doing that. And the video output socket started breaking, meaning I had no dual monitors, altogether meaning that video editing for me would be impossible. So, do you know what that means? Yes, I need another office computer. And even though I have enough spare PC parts here to build another one from scratch and put wheels on it so I can race it in NASCAR, I felt like I was cursed. So I decided to go pre-built. So then I find myself a pre-built one online, and it fits all the specs that I need. I stick it in the website's basket, go to the checkout, pay extra for next day delivery. The next day comes, and nothing arrives. Okay, fine, I get it. The virus is still out there, deliveries aren't as quick, so I left it another day, and still nothing arrived. As quick as a flash, I checked in on the status of my order on my online account and discover that it hasn't even left their warehouse yet. So I decided to call them up and go, "Hey, assholes! What have you done with my bloody perk?" Okay, I didn't say that. Be nice to retail employees during a pandemic, you dick. And that's when I was told that the pre-built model I ordered wouldn't be ready until the following month. So then I asked, "Then why did your website tell me it was in stock and would be here tomorrow?" And then they said, obviously, I understand and sympathize with all of these companies trying to work during the corona, but unfortunately, that's just too long of a wait for me to keep YouTube happy with the state of my channel, and I wasn't told it was going to be a month late until I chased the company myself, so I cancelled that order before the money could be taken out my account and spent the rest of the day looking everywhere for a PC that meets my specs and wouldn't take 4 years to get here, which I eventually find after only 3 hours of searching, and the quickest way it would get here was a week from then, which isn't ideal and puts my video work behind even more, but whatever, it's the best I can do at that moment. By the way, including express shipping, that added another £2,600 onto my special jackpot prize fund. Wanna go for a double jeopardy and risk it all for a brand new Toyota RAV4? Oh, and by the way, add on the cost of 2 other brand new monitors, since the ones I was using before started color bleeding around the edges and needed to be scrapped. But the new monitors got here and they turned out to have the worst possible black coloring I've ever seen in a monitor. Yes, I went into every setting imaginable for my computer and the monitors themselves and couldn't improve it, meaning that for video editing they were absolutely...
Caddy! Listen, by this point, like, all the fucking money investing and going into all this, listen, you could have bought your own plot of land by this point. It's getting outrageous now. Like, you could have bought a PC company.
Absolutely useless, meaning I had to send them back and order even more that were good. And the funny thing is, the reason I ordered these particular monitors was because they were the same company that made the other monitor that I'm using for the PC that I'm building myself, which I know is a great monitor. But when I got that monitor, that was the last one in stock, meaning that I got another model of monitor from that company in order to get it to my house quicker. And taking aside the money I spent for the first monitors, because I'll get a refund very shortly, these dual monitors alone added on £300 to my total.
Yeah.
And I still haven't fixed the first PC yet! At this point, me and Low Spec Gamer were absolutely stumped, so I was taking hints and tips from basically anybody on social media because nobody had any damn clue what was going on. Then my friend Devi Brown suggested I buy myself a £15 wall socket tester to see
by
if there
this
were
point,
any
I wouldn't even be surprised if Caddy be having like a help sign on Craigslist or something, like taking advice from like serial killers and shit.
problems in the wall where my PC was plugged in. Spoiler alert, there was no problem. Some lovely chap suggested I take the graphics card out and try my old PC's one, which I did, and that didn't fix the problem. Someone else suggested it was too much static electricity around the PC itself, so I moved it around the living room, and that didn't fix the problem. I tried benchmarking, temperature checks, power saving settings, BIOS tweaking, RAM speed altering, turning on XMP so the RAM dictates its own speed, letting the entire BIOS run everything automatically as it sees fit, but whatever I did, nothing worked. Oh, and get your birthday hats on and your party horns full of spit, because we've also just hit the total amount of money I have spent to this day on sodding computers. £7,540, aka over $10,000. Add that in with the few thousand the studio space costed me during all of this, and together that brings us to a total of no winter coats for my children in the snow pounds, and no dinner either pence. And that's when,
everybody's going on a diet of
lost, we hit a breakthrough.
Died of air.
It's the 15th of February, and there's one error that we completely forgot to look into, which happened all the way back on the 3rd. And because it only popped up one time, and then we totally ignored it because it seemed to fix itself, we then thought, what if that was the problem the entire time? Windows hasn't loaded correctly. Oh my god, that means... that must mean... it's a Windows 10 problem. Oh my god. All I need to do is format my drives, reinstall Windows, and the problem is fixed. Christ almighty, we are home free. Yes. Delete the partitions, clear out everything, start afresh. I've got a cool house, and you can tell it's cool because it's got brand new windows. Yeah, that didn't work either. So I went to bed at 4:30 a.m. extremely pissed off. I wake up late,
This
a
is
little
like
bit groggy.
a
I take
fucking
shower,
journey.
and I say to myself, okay, sure, I've got a dodgy PC, so even though I can't record any more gameplay for now, at the very least I can continue scripting by watching the stuff that I've already recorded. Then it dawned on me, and my heart lodged up into my throat. I formatted the PC, and in my haste and desperation with everything going wrong, in a brief moment of careless thought and overwhelming stress,
Oh no.
I forgot to back up any of my video files. So I
Oh,
lost it
no.
all. 18 hours of recorded gameplay footage. Gone. Forever. I tried drive recovery and everything else you can think of, but nope, it all got lost. Which means, after all of this time, I've got half of a script finished, and I'm back where I began with everything else, but minus $10,000. Fuck PC
God
building.
damn.
You want to know where the hell I've been this year, or where my regular videos have gone? That is why. PC Master Race my ass. I think I'm gonna go and play a console. Oh wait, I can't even do that because my brand new Xbox controller that I just bought has a broken shoulder button.
Caddy, by this
Screw this, I don't need it.
Caddy, by this point, I would just flee the country. Because maybe you're just you're cursed by this point. You got to flee the country. You got to find like some type of like witch or something in the woods to break the fucking curse, cuz like this is just beyond ridiculous.
Of this new shit, I'll play all of my games and edit my videos on the Nintendo GameCube.
Piss.
This picture is me. This is exactly me as I record this credit sequence audio that you're hearing right now. None of the audio that you've
His
heard
house is
through
haunted
the
by
whole
a
of this video,
vengeful
but just this
IT
ending
support
portion
tech.
here. The date is
I can see
March the 9th, and literally about an hour ago, my office editing PC arrived with special thank you to Level Up Gaming, who, despite everything going on in the world right now and all the parts that you can't find anywhere online and all of that stress and everything, customer service was phenomenal. Their delivery time was really quick despite everything that's been going on right now. So if you live in the UK, you want a PC built, highly recommend Level Up Gaming. Their link is in the description below. I'm
this is a
recording this
fucking
audio,
journey.
by the way, on the spare gaming laptop, which Caddicarus is
shitty,
now
shitty
using
journey.
for Patreon video production and her own work with the school, with the kids and everything, with remote learning and such. As I speak, everything with the streaming and gaming PC appears to be completely okay. I think I've ironed out the kinks. I think I figured out what the problem is. I think... only time will tell, and I'm sure with a couple of streams that I'm planning on doing later on, you'll be able to figure that out as well. You'll see with me the results of my labor, but either way, my office PC is more important because that means I can get back to making videos, and I have been able to start creating my newest Caddicarus video in the entire time while this video was being made. It is not the same video I was originally working on with the 18 hours of gameplay footage that I lost because I just couldn't bring myself to go back through all of those
God,
games
that
again.
fucking-
So I decided to start an entirely new and fresh video idea. I hope
Connect
that that's
Star
okay
Wars,
with you
dude.
guys, and I'm sorry that it's taken so long. Thank you for your patience, but I'm sure you can understand why that is. And of course, this video would not have been possible whatsoever without the incredible work of the animator Boy My Life. That dude has been an immense machine. I have no words. I'm amazed with how the final product came out and how quickly he was able to do it.
This
All
is,
of his links to
like,
his YouTube channel, his social media,
I
all
wouldn't
of that stuff
even-
is in the description below. Commission him for things. Go and see the kinds of videos he makes. The dude is an incredible talent.
Wow.
And I mean, depending on what you guys thought about this video, maybe I can make this a more regular series, just talking about bits and pieces of life. I mean, I've got stories,
I mean,
and he can make...
I wouldn't recommend going through the exact same thing because Jabus Christ. My God. This... Oh, my God. Like, it didn't even happen to me, and I have anxiety from it. Like, this is just... It gave me anxiety, and it didn't even happen to me.
them incredibly interesting to watch as I talk about them. So let me know how you felt about this video in the comments, and maybe we could work together again in the future. And just before I go, a special thank you to
The
every
making
name
of
that you have been
Caddicarus.
seeing on the
So
screen
he went back
right
after
now,
this?
who have been supporting me on Patreon. And despite all of my
Trauma.
painful updates and my agonizing apologizing for everything being delayed and no videos coming out on any front and everything, they have been there from day one, from scratch, never left, just the most loyal, supportive Patreon supporters I could have ever wished for. And all of these names that you're seeing are people that have been supporting ever since January, ever since the start of the year, because I haven't had a chance to put them in credits or thank them in general until now. So yeah, that's why the credits are so long. This is 3 months worth of people that deserve a massive
Damn.
thank you. So yeah, there we go. Thank you everybody for watching this video, and I will see you in the next Caddicarus very soon.
Yeah, hopefully that this video alone paid for that mess. That mess, that stress, the anxiety. 'Cause holy fucking shit. Like, again, this didn't even happen to me, but just thinking about it, oh my God, the anxiety. No, I couldn't be me. I don't know if I could come back from that.